Okay, hello everybody. Thank you so much for watching this recording. This is a Q&A about the music department. I have the director of the music department with me today, and I will have him introduce himself in just a second. But real quick, I'm going to introduce myself first. My name is Kokanee Ellingston. I am the campus visit coordinator for the admissions office. So if you've gone to a Whitworth or you plan to go to a visit in the future, you will probably see a lot of my face at those. And I also have the privilege of living on campus. My partner is an area coordinator, which means that he's a professional staff member who lives in residence halls and is a resource to them. So I have a lot of knowledge about that as well. So if you ever see me at a visit, please feel free to ask about residence life and student life as well. But for today, we're just going to talk about the music department and hopefully get some of your most frequently asked questions answered today. And as I mentioned, I have Ben here to talk a little bit about that. So I'll pass it on to him if he wants to introduce himself real quick.
Great. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Ben Brody. I'm the chair of the music department and music director of the music ministry program. And it's just great to be able to be with you during this time and answer some questions. This is my 20th year that I'm beginning as a Whitworth faculty member, and I'm also a Whitworth alum. I graduated with a degree in music education, and so I am happy to be back at my alma mater and teaching, and think Whitworth is a pretty great place, and we have a really great music department. So I'm happy to get to share a little bit about that with you today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben. So I just have a list of about 10 questions that are kind of the most asked questions we get about the music department. I want to make a note that this is a great resource to you, but if you have more questions after this about the music department or about Whitworth, please reach out. Everyone in the admissions office would love to talk to you, and I'm sure Ben and his colleagues would also love to talk to you about the music department specifically. So if there's a question that you really want answered and you don't get it answered during this session, please reach out. We would love to connect you with the music department and get those questions answered. Okay, we're going to dive right in. So Ben, first question, do you offer music scholarships at Whitworth University? And if so, how do I apply for one?
We do. Whitworth has generous music scholarships. And one important thing to note about those is those are available to all students regardless of what their major is, whether they're majoring in music or in something else. And so the requirements of the scholarship are that the student participate in the ensemble that they audition into and take lessons in their instrument. But otherwise, we have students from all kinds of different majors that have music scholarships, and so those are available to everyone. Music scholarship auditions take place in February each year. So for somebody who might be a senior this coming year, it's a great chance to go on our website, look at those requirements for those scholarship auditions, and then you can even begin now preparing music that you might sing or play for those auditions. The auditions we accept recordings or do auditions in person. If you can make it in person, I strongly encourage you to do that. It's such a great opportunity to get to see the campus and get to interact with our faculty and other students when you're here for that audition. So if there's any possible way, I encourage you to do that. But we also do accept recorded auditions as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What are the different degrees and tracks offered for a music major?
Yeah, so we offer a Bachelor of Arts degree in music and a Bachelor of Arts degree in music education. The music education degree comes as students who pursue that degree pursue a double major with that and secondary education. And so when they graduate, they are certified and ready to teach, ready to go out and teach music. And so they can do that with an instrumental track or a choral track. And so students who want to teach maybe high school or middle school choir or elementary music could do the choral track, and then students wanting to do band or orchestra or even elementary music there could do the instrumental certification. And then in the BA in music, students can just major in music with the Bachelor of Arts degree, or they can pursue a track. And we have 8 tracks that are additional. Each track has some additional requirements for students to kind of focus in that particular area. So those tracks are composition, instrumental performance, jazz performance, voice performance, piano pedagogy, string pedagogy, and music ministry. We also offer a music minor and an interdisciplinary worship leadership minor.
Awesome, thank you. So it sounds like there's a lot of options for students who are interested in music.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. For students who are in the music program at Whitworth, what are experiential learning opportunities that this program offers, like study abroad, internships, things like that?
Yeah, that's great. So, well, first thing I'll say is that many of our ensembles have done international tours. Those were on pause during COVID, but we're hoping in the coming years to get those restarted again. So that's a great opportunity that has been available to many music students to get to travel abroad and perform with their ensembles that they're a part of. There are a couple of Jan term classes that are offered and taught by Whitworth music professors. Jan term is such a great opportunity to get to explore the world and study abroad. And so my colleague, Dr. Rich Strauch, who is our conductor of our Wind Symphony, teaches a class called The Power and Politics of Art. And they study art, music, architecture in Italy, Florence and Rome, Italy, Vienna, Austria, and Berlin, Germany. And then I teach a class called The Arts in Christian Worship. And we spend time in 6 cities in Europe, Rome, Florence in Italy, Geneva, Switzerland, Thésée, which is a monastery in France, and then Paris and then London. And so both of those are great opportunities to get to attend concerts, get to see great architecture and art and get to explore those with a professor and fellow students. I would also add, lastly, that we do have some of the tracks have internships that are a part of those requirements. So piano pedagogy track has a practicum where you're actually teaching lessons to piano students and being kind of supervised and mentored in that by a professor. And in music ministry, our track there has a year-long internship in a local church where you're working with somebody in music ministry and getting some great experience there.
Wow, that's awesome. And music education students will do student teaching during their time, right?
Yes, absolutely. Student teaching and actually several other opportunities to be in the classroom and get to do some teaching and observing there too. So lots of opportunities in the music ed area.
Awesome. That's great to know. Okay, next question. For students who are really enjoy music, but they don't want to major in music, can they still be involved in the music department, even if they're not majoring? And if so, what does that look like for a typical student?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question because I think that's one of those misconceptions that is sometimes out there, that you have to major in music to participate in it. And actually, the majority of students who are involved in music ensembles or taking lessons are not music majors. We have nearly 300 students participating in music ensembles from all different majors across campus. So I would say that's one of the primary ways to get involved in music is to audition for one of our ensembles. So we have several choirs, we have our Wind Symphony and concert band, we have an orchestra, and then a couple of jazz ensembles, as well as some smaller chamber ensembles. So lots of great opportunities there in music ensembles. And then lessons are also available to all students. And so private lessons consist of 30-minute one-on-one time with an instructor in your area. We also offer some class lessons in particular instruments, in voice, guitar, and piano. And so that's a great chance to get to learn in a setting with maybe 5 to 10 other students. So you're learning together, but also having those classes small enough where you get some individual attention and instruction. And that's in addition to other music classes that are offered that any student can take, things like music theory and ear training, or music appreciation classes, jazz in America, listening to music, things like that.
Awesome, that's great. You kind of addressed this question in this last one, but I'll ask it one more time just in case. What choir and band options do you have at Whitworth, and what instruments are in the ensemble? So it's kind of a two-parter.
Yeah, that's great. So we have 3 choirs right now at Whitworth. The Whitworth choir is the top auditioned ensemble. And then we have a group with higher voices and lower voices, or 2 separate groups there, one for higher voices, one for lower voices. That low voice choir is actually a non-auditioned group. And so people who would like to be in that can just sign up. The only requirement is that you be able to match pitch. And then in the band area, our wind ensemble is our top auditioned band. But our concert band is another great option, and that's another one of those groups that you don't have to audition for. You can just sign up. And so the wind ensemble and the concert band, they have all wind instruments and brass and percussion. And then the orchestra, in addition to wind, brass, and percussion, has strings as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
I should add the jazz bands. We also have a jazz band and a second jazz band, as well as smaller jazz combos. And so those involve drums, bass, piano, as well as brass instruments and saxophones.
Awesome. And can students be involved in more than one choir or more than one band while they're there?
Yes, absolutely. They're really just limited by the time in their schedule and the time they have to put into those groups.
Okay, awesome. That's good to know. What classes should a student be taking now in high school to prepare themselves for this program?
Yeah, that's a great question. Really, the best advice I would give to somebody who thinks they might want to major in music is you put good energy into your main instrument and your ensemble work in high school. If there are other opportunities, if there's an opportunity to study privately outside of your school, that can be great and helpful. But I would say we have students coming in that end up being successful music majors. Some have a lot of previous music experience and knowledge, and some have much less, and they all find ways to succeed. So people come in at a wide variety of abilities, and students can succeed regardless of where they come in at.
Awesome. If you're planning to be a music major, when do you need to declare your major?
Yeah, so really there's not a hurry on that. I should say this, the music education degrees have a lot of classes that are required and a lot of classes that have to be taken in a certain sequence. And so it's really helpful if a student wants to graduate in 4 years that they think they might want to major in music education, they should indicate that right at the beginning so that we can get them in the right classes for fall. For students that are thinking about just doing a Bachelor of Arts in Music or maybe a music track, they should take music lessons and an ensemble, and then at least take music theory and ear training 1 in that first semester. But there's plenty of room then to take other classes as well, and take some classes that meet the shared curriculum and those sorts of things.
Okay, awesome. That's really great to know. What opportunities are available for students after graduation, or what sorts of careers are students with a Whitworth music degree going into?
Yeah. It's so fun to see our graduates and the variety of things that they go out and do. Obviously, for music education majors, most of them are going out and teaching, finding teaching jobs in public schools or private schools or other settings. One of the questions I often get from potential music ed majors is sort of how many jobs are there out there? And in the almost 20 years that I've been at Whitworth, I can't think of a single student who has graduated with a music ed degree and wanted to get a teaching job that couldn't find one. Mm-hmm. So anybody who graduates and is looking for a job has been able to pretty easily find a music teaching job. Whitworth graduates are really highly respected and sought after for music teaching positions. Mm-hmm. In other areas of music, we have students that have gone on to successful performing careers, teaching private lessons. Maybe I can think of a recent graduate who's a pianist who has a full studio of piano students that she's teaching over near Seattle. Full-time positions in music ministry, in churches, worship leadership, and then a variety of other other things like that. Some have gone into careers in arts administration, kind of working with nonprofit arts organizations in a variety of settings. So lots of possibilities there for students when they graduate.
Awesome. That's really great to know. And students, you may have said this and I may have missed it, but a good amount of your students also go on to grad school as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely. We have students in the top graduate programs in the country that have come out of Whitworth, and we have several students recently who were at Eastman School of Music, University of North Texas, Peabody Conservatory. So lots of the major music schools are places that we've sent graduates to.
Wow, that is amazing to hear. Okay, I have one more question that wasn't on my list, but I was just thinking about it. For students who come in with transfer credits or come in with their AA, what does the timeline look like to receive a degree in music?
That's a really great question. And it's a little bit different for music than for some other majors. If a student's majoring in something like psychology, for instance, they come in with maybe an AA degree, and then they just have a certain number of psychology classes they need to get in over the next maybe 2 years, and they can graduate. Music's a little bit different because there's an expectation of a certain performing ability that students will have achieved by the time they graduate. So a high school student who has completed an AA degree and comes to Whitworth, it's possible they could graduate in 2 years, but it's probably likely that they'll need a little bit longer to be able to develop in their instrument or their voice to the level where they would be able to have a successful senior recital, which is a requirement for all graduating students in the music program. And so what we typically will see is a student with maybe an AA degree, it might take 3 years to graduate. But they've in that AA degree often completed a number of other requirements at the university that they would need, and so they can focus more of their time on their music, and that can be a really good thing.
Awesome, sweet. Thank you so much, Ben. This was so helpful to get some of these frequently asked questions answered. Before we wrap up, is there any last things that you want to mention to these students about the music department, or any advice you have for them as they're going through the college search process, anything like that?
Oh, that's great. Thanks. Obviously, I think Whitworth is a great place, and I think the best way to get to know it is to visit on campus. So I would just encourage anybody who's thinking about Whitworth to come and visit. We have a great event every fall called the Music Open House, and it's a day where you can come and sit in on classes, hear all of our major ensembles, get to meet faculty and students, have a meal with music students. So it's a really wonderful opportunity. But really, even if you can't make that event, come visit campus. We'll get you in to sit in on ensembles and meet professors and students, and I think you'll find that to be a really helpful experience as you're making those college decisions. I would also add that all of our music faculty are happy to and would welcome the opportunity to get to visit with you over Zoom or meet with you in person or even just exchange emails. So on the website, you can find all of our full-time music faculty, and feel free to reach out to any of them or reach out to me if you have kind of more general questions, and I'm happy to connect you with others if that's helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben. And I would have to echo that. Visiting campus is probably one of the best ways to figure out if a university is the right fit for you and learn more about the department in a more tangible way, I think. And I would also push students who are interested in music to do Music Open House. But as you mentioned, if you come to a Whitworth or another event and you really want to visit someone from the music department, mention that in your registration, because we're really good at connecting students with professors and faculty members and helping them sit in on classes. And I do think that is the best way to kind of figure out what you would be experiencing when you're here at Whitworth. So I have to echo that. And yeah, thank you so much for mentioning that. Okay, well, that wraps up today. I want to thank Ben so much for being here and for answering those questions. And thank you all for watching this. Please feel free, as I mentioned, this conversation does not have to end here. We want to be a resource to you moving forward. So please reach out, email your admissions counselor, or go on our page and find a faculty member to reach out to. And we would be happy to chat with you further and continue this conversation if we weren't able to answer any of your questions. But I just want to wrap up for now and say thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.